me because it didn't look like there was any caves nearby that he could have came out of. This sealed the deal that I truly am the chicken god, though. After I wrangled him in the brown pearl, I decided it was time to go home. On the way back to the portal, I realized it wasn't going to be easy to take that chicken all the way underwater, then through the nether without seeds. That left me with no other choice. I decided to leave him on a small island I found. Who knows, maybe one day I'll come back for him. Day 44, we were back at home. I have in my notes that I accidentally AFK'd because I was eating a bowl of cereal. So day 45, we started off by leaving base camp because I needed to go shovel some sand. Why sand, you ask? Because I wanted to craft some TNT, of course. But for TNT, we would need a lot of gunpowder. So we started swinging away at the mob grinder. However, I noticed it was getting pretty slow. So I climbed all the way to the top of it and it sounded like there were some spiders clogging it up. I figured I wouldn't worry about it too much right now because I already had a lot of gunpowder. Day 46, I went into the nether and started digging down to Y level 17. Everyone knows this is the best level to mine with TNT. After laying a big strip of TNT and many explosions later, with only a couple close calls to burning to death, we finally got some ancient debris. It wasn't much, especially because we used all of our TNT, but that's okay, because we got an OP enchanted pickaxe. A lot of people hate mining for ancient debris with their pickaxe, but honestly, it's like ASMR to me. And since I had mending, all I had to do was hit some quartz every now and then. But it was worth it because I managed to bag 10 ancient debris before heading home. With 10 ancient debris, I can make 2 ingots, which I actually used on my chest plate and pickaxe. So today was a pretty good day. Day 47, I started off by making a bunch of carpet so I can hopefully stop spiders from spawning inside the mob grinder. So I climbed to the top and hopped inside. It didn't seem like there was anything too wrong with it, but I figured I already committed to the carpet, so I might as well place them. While waiting for mobs to start raining from the mob grinder, I decided to hatch all the eggs I've been hoarding. Let's just say I got pretty lucky, further proving my point that I am the chicken god. Day 48, I had a late start to the day, but I started off right, enchanting my pants. I managed to get some protection and unbreaking. That's better than nothing. While on my way to the mob grinder, I noticed there was another wandering trader. I rushed over to see what kind of trades he has. And turns out he has some oak saplings. I mean, he also has acacia saplings, but oak saplings. But what was weird about him is that he didn't have his leads. I'd only ever seen this one other time, and it was because the leads broke and I assumed they just despawned. But regardless, I busted out that bling bling and I bought a handful of saplings. Day 49 was possibly the best day ever. It's finally time to get rid of the gross birch forest. After chopping all the logs and getting a little impatient, I burned down the leaves. After planting all the oak trees, I used some bone meal to make sure that I was going to get some more saplings. Day 50, halfway to 100. I started off the day by making some more diamond tools because I'm rolling in diamonds and I didn't even realize that my tools all weren't diamond yet. Afterwards, I wanted to go farm the mob grinder, but it still is just crazy slow. I'm starting to realize that I can't rely on this thing for XP, but I figured I'd do a tiny bit more testing before I officially gave up. I added an extra layer of slabs on top to the roof, maybe somehow that maybe if there's any light bleeding through the corners. It seemed like it was doing a bit better throughout the day. However, right before I slept, I noticed another zombie villager. Me being the professional zombie villager snatcher, I was able to sneak him out and trap him in a dirt hut. Then I gave him that sweetened nectars so then he could become human again. Day 51, I wanted to enchant the last of my armor, and my axe surprisingly got silk touch on it. Also, our new villager is no longer a zombie. I wasn't sure what job I wanted to give him, and then it hit me. I wanted him to become a farmer for a couple of reasons. One, I can sell him potatoes and make tons of money. And two, he'll hopefully sell apples so I could turn into more golden apples. Day 52 through 57. Since one of my goals for this 100 days is to have full netherite armor, I needed to get to mining. I crafted all the TNT I could and set off on an adventure into the nether. This time I decided to dig down in a fresh new area. While I was mining with TNT, I managed to somehow only get 1 ancient debris with all of my TNT. I wasn't going to leave until I had enough netherite for all my armor. So I started mindlessly swinging my pickaxe for the next 5 days. Yes, literally 5 Minecraft days. And I only stopped because my pickaxe was getting dangerously low. On the way home, I tried my best to heal it by punching as much of the quartz as I could for XP. Day 58, after making it home with all the goods, I quickly made all the netherite ingots I got. And I even managed to get that sweet achievement for all my armor. I decided to save my last ingot because I couldn't really decide if I wanted to use on my axe or sword. Regardless, I decided to flex on everyone with my new armor. The wandering merchant was in awe. The farmer was impressed. And the chickens, well, they just gave me some more eggs. After my Flex Fest, I took a look around and realized the place needed a bit of work. I decided to start off by working on the dock. Seems like it would be a pretty simple project to start, and it didn't take that much time. I thought it looked pretty good afterwards. But after the dock, I decided to break the nether portal because I wanted to move it to be a part of the base. Day 59, I started off by collecting eggs, but then I noticed a tree grew and suffocated one of my chickens, so I slayed that tree. Honestly, it was probably a good thing though, because I'm starting to have too many chickens. Afterwards, I began working on the new platform for the nether portal. I wanted to make it big enough to where I got all the room for a custom looking portal. That's when life took a 180. After I made a giant platform, I realized it was heavily lopsided, so I had to tear it all down and rebuild it again. This took an entire another day. Day 61, I finally finished building the platform. Yes, again. Day 62 to 63, I began working on construction for the portal. I've always been a fan of custom looking portals that look oddly shaped. For this one, I was going to try to make it a bit more like a circle. I think it ended up looking pretty awesome. Day 63, I wanted to get some XP for some enchants, but I had completely given up on the mob grinder. I knew I was going to need something much more reliable, so I decided to venture back to spawn where we found Chickpea, because there was that mine shaft, always coming in clutch. But that also means that there was going to be a spider spawner. I remember using a spider farm in my previous 100-day video, and it worked out great. Day 64, I managed to find the spider spawner, but it was in a horrible location. But it was the only one I could find, so I needed to make it work. I pretty much spent the entire day clearing out the room and fighting mobs because they wouldn't leave me alone and let me work in peace. Day 65, we made some good progress on the farmer. We managed to get the room shaped out and got water flowing. But then there was too much water since the cave opened up into the ocean. That just slowed down everything and made it so much more difficult. Day 66, I was able to put the final touches on the spawner and get rid of all the torches. Day 67, I AFK'd almost the entire day, but within good reason. On day 68, there was a giant swarm of spiders piled up. I mean, how satisfying is that? Not to mention all the XP I got. Oh yeah. Day 69. Nice. I decided to put all those levels to use. I started by enchanting my sword, which I managed to get smite. Could be better, but honestly, I'll just take it. Day 70, I decided to spend the entire day leveling my farmer so I could be able to get apples that I could turn into golden apples. But because I'm so lucky, he decided to sell me pumpkin pies instead of apples. But because I got a big brain, I was also chopping down trees, which I was able to get apples that way. Day 71, I wanted to spend all my riches by buying mending books for all my netherite equipment. Last thing you'd want is for one of those things to break. Otherwise, didn't really do too much on this day. Day 72, since I lost all my levels using those mending books, I needed more XP for one last enchant. My bow. So I spent all of day 72 at the spider spawner farm. After getting back to level 30, I left and went straight home to do some enchants. Naturally, I would have wanted infinite, but I could definitely settle with damage 4 on breaking and knockback. Day 73, I spent the entire day getting gold. I was pretty tempted to go to an ocean monument and get gold there, but I didn't want to have to risk getting miner's fatigue and have to sit around waiting for it since we didn't have milk. So I decided to mine all the gold that we've been skipping in the nether. And with my fortune pickaxe, you already know I got a lot of gold. I managed to craft all the apples I had into golden apples and even make a stack of golden carrots. I also realized I still had that one netherite ingot. I decided to use it on my sword. Day 74, honestly, I just wanted to relax and hang out. I gave my last goodbyes to my villagers and even the chickens, even though they're beginning to overpopulate, but it doesn't matter. Tomorrow could be the end. Day 75, I grabbed my ender pearls, crafted 12 eyes, and double checked to make sure I had everything I was going to need. Then I set off to the stronghold. When I entered the portal room, it was just chaos. There were so many mobs everywhere. After clearing the room, it was time. I jumped in. Day 76 after returning home from that Ender Dragon fight. I knew the adventure wasn't over, for me at least. The wandering trader, he was done for. Mainly because I needed the boat he was in. But also I wanted a new trader to spawn. Regardless, I went back to the stronghold and jumped into the end because I wanted to get an elytra. But what I didn't know is that this would be an 11-day journey before I even found my first end city. In the beginning, I was carelessly pearling around and fighting Endermen, which made me waste so much food. I mindlessly kept running around until on day 87, because on day 87 I found my first end city. This thing was huge, but when I approached it, my worst nightmares became reality. The first end city I found didn't even have a ship, which meant no elytra. I have never had this bad of luck in Minecraft. I was dangerously low on food, but I had to keep going. Day 89, I managed to find another end city, and this one was definitely the biggest one I have seen yet. I mean, it was massive. But more importantly, while approaching it, I noticed there was a ship. I gathered blocks and climbed up to it, slayed the shulkers, and got my elytra. There was also some decent diamond gear inside the chest. With the elytra, I was able to find a portal fairly easily to make my way home. I pretty much wanted to spend the remainder of the 100 days at home. Day 91, I realized I should probably start getting my villagers to breed, but my lectern was being pretty difficult and just kept wanting to go back home. Actually took forever just to get it into the fence. I had to make like a little bridge and kind of boat it over. It was a whole thing. Day 92, I woke up to the sounds of lovemaking. I looked out my window to find my villagers having a great time, but it turns out they just weren't compatible. This is going to make things a lot harder because then I'd had to get another zombie villager to try to do the baby making. After awkwardly examining my villagers, I realized how much the cobblestone floor started bothering me. So on day 93, I spent the entire day working on a cool pattern down near the docks. I realized I liked it so much that I spent the next 2 days pretty much redoing the outline of all the circles at my base. Ideally, I wanted to swap out all the cobblestone entirely with spruce wood, but for that, I'd probably need a sapling. Day 94, I decided now that I got an elytra, I'm going to need some fireworks. But for that, I'm going to need a lot of paper. So I began constructing a small sugarcane farm for the next 2 days. But on day 95, a wandering merchant had spawned. Unfortunately for him, he didn't have any good deals. And I wasn't going to pass up another chance to get some leads. I realized I might want to save one of the llamas, but then it fell in water and then it just kind of turned into too much work and it kept spitting at me. So maybe next time. For the remainder of the day, I pretty much just spent working on the sugarcane farm. Day 96. I realized this entire series, I have not fished. Not even once. All this ocean and not even fished. One of the most relaxing, peaceful, and fun things to do in Minecraft. So I thought it'd actually be an awesome idea to build a vacation house. So I went to the island nearby the base and decided to start building a little vacation house for us where, you know, I'll probably do my relaxing, my fishing, things like that. And after completing my awesome little vibey spot, it was time to throw out my first cast. And this is where I'm going to hit you with a cheesy pickup line. I hope I hooked you with this video. Oh, that was bad. Day 101, I wanted to hit the ground running because there was a lot of things I wanted to accomplish during these next 100 days, starting with my villager farms, actually. A lot of comments pointed out the fact that I needed more beds to be able to have my villagers start multiplying. Honestly, I don't know how I even forgot about that. So I moved my lectern back over to the farmer's place and laid down a couple beds so they could get to the baby making. I figured while the villagers are getting it on, I'd spend the rest of day 101 building a giant platform for a new villager house. By the time I was done, the villagers already popped out a baby. Day 102, because a lot of people like the Blackstone builds I've been doing, I figured I would just continue that theme for the villager house. So I pretty much just spent the entire day of 102 in the nether, just grabbing a lot of Blackstone and basalt, like a lot. That's when I realized while gathering all this Blackstone and basalt, I really need to get some shulker boxes. Day 103 to 105, we're back at home and we're getting started on the new villager Shake Shack. You guys know I would take a good looking build over a functional build any day. So I spent the next 2 days pretty much just working on what I actually think turned out to be a really dope house. Day 104, I started the annoying and tedious process of moving these villagers. Somehow they continue to keep making babies, even when they didn't have enough beds. Honestly, I was more impressed than anything. Luckily, while moving them, I developed a pretty solid technique. I would set down a job and promise them a stable living and a good life. Then I would just take it away from them. And I would just kind of repeat that process all the way to the new house. Can't believe they fell for it every time. Day 105, I moved my final villager over and started making beds and jobs for everyone. I made sure that there was plenty plenty of beds so they could just populate like crazy. Started doing a couple of trades just to lock them in. That's when I noticed the mob grinder was getting pretty full, so I hacked that thing down. How satisfying is that? It's actually working now for some reason. Day 106, I only had a few things left to do for the villagers. But first I wanted some eggs in the morning, so I ran through the chicken forest, proceeding to pick up eggs and birth the chickens. Afterwards, I'd farm a bunch of potatoes because with all these new villagers, I got a lot of mouths to feed. And pretty much the last big event of the day, I wanted to get a bunch of sand so then I could start making glass and fill in all the windows at the villager house. Some people were getting pretty triggered that I didn't put any windows in my house in the last 100 days, but honestly, I kind of like the ability to just jump out a window whenever I want to. It kind of just feels right. After patiently waiting for all the sand to cook, Day 107, I grabbed all the glass and began finishing up the Shake Shack. While waiting for more sand to cook, I was shoveling a bunch of flint so that I can start making some Fletchers, because stick trades are honestly just the best. They're just so easy to get so much, and you make so much money. After setting up some Fletchers and locking in their trades, I finished up the last window, and honestly, I really like the way this house turned out. Day 108, I was getting pretty sick of dealing with villagers, so I needed a break. I decided to make an automatic sugarcane farm. So I began crafting some observers and some hoppers, and that is until a little villager kid escaped from the jail. I mean the Shake Shack. Luckily, they decided to leave me alone for forever. While getting everything all set up for the sugarcane farm, I realized I was running pretty low on iron. Possibly an iron farm in the future? Probably. But for now, I spent the rest of day 108 down in the mines trying to get as much iron as I could. And of course, I got some diamonds. Day 109 to 110, I started off by building a blast furnace because I don't know why it took me this long to make it, but yep, those exist. But that definitely helps speed along the process. I won't bore you too much with the details since this sugarcane farm is pretty self-explanatory, or at least I thought. I mean, it took me 2 days to remember how to make this thing, but after laying some rails and slapping some redstone on it, it was coming together. After finishing up the build, I tested it out and it looks like everything's working perfectly. Now I can have a steady supply of sugarcane for fireworks and paper. Day 111, today was a bit of an adventure day. I grabbed some fireworks and slapped on the elytra because we're flying over to the stronghold. I wanted to run through it, looting all the chests that I could find, but most importantly, I wanted to find some bookshelves so I could just have a big supply of books for villager trades. After finding the library, I began chopping down all that knowledge. And yes, I looted the chests, don't worry. They were pretty dookie as always. After clearing out the room, I realized that there's some potential. This could be a cool build sometime in the future. But for now, we head home. I honestly didn't even realize how many bookshelves I had. I started setting them up in the enchantment room and I realized there's just too many. So I started putting some in the bedroom and stored the rest. Day 112, I started off by doing some trades. I bought myself a mending book because the elytra need. All right, yeah. I have a typo here and it's like throwing me off as I read it. There we go. I bought myself a mending book so I could put it on my elytra. With all this flying I'm doing, I'm gonna need it. After upgrading the elytra, I went to the mob grinder to heal it back up. The rest of day 112 was spent pretty much just doing random stuff. I decided I wanted to make a garbage disposal instead of throwing all my materials out into the ocean. All I needed to do was go to the nether, get a bucket of lava. After wandering around for a bit, I had the perfect idea. I decided to tear down the old villager hut and build a new storage room where I could store all my building blocks and have my garbage disposal. But after tearing down the villager hut, I realized the platform's uneven, as always. I don't know how I keep doing this. But luckily, I've become a pro at fixing them and it didn't take that long. Day 113, I began construction on the storage room. I didn't need it to be too flashy. I mean, it was just going to be storing a few chests. But one thing's for sure, I didn't want to end up making a cupcake roof. All right, look, I'll fix it. All right, calm down. After breaking a couple of blocks, no, not really a cupcake roof anymore, right? Looks okay. Day 114, I pretty much just spent the entire day setting up the chests and organizing my storage. This was a long and tedious process that reminds me how much I need a shulker box. So on day 115, I decided it was time to go get some shulker shells. So I set on an adventure to go to the end. This time around, I already knew where the end city was, and I had an elytra to get around. So that would save me a bunch of time. After getting to the end city, I was greeted by some snart rockets. After slaying the bouncers at the door, I decided that why not? You know, I'm already here. Might as well climb this thing, slaying as many shulkers as I could. Or try at least. I mean, I did my best. After getting all the shulker shells I came for, I figured why not loot a couple chests. I tried to break the end chests, but it turned into obsidian. Do I need silk touch? I mean, this is kind of a noob moment. I'm sorry. I don't usually use these things. I don't know. I'm not too worried about it right now. Because we're heading home with all the shulker shells we came for. After getting home, I crafted all my shulker boxes and spent the rest of the day hanging out with the chickens and chopping some trees. Day 116, I started off by enchanting a new diamond axe because I was getting pretty tired of using silk touch touch on everything. Afterwards, I remember I found a piece of bamboo out of a shipwreck a little while ago. So I figured I would add it to the sugarcane farm since it pretty much grows the same. That's when I realized the minecart didn't really travel all the way over to the bamboo. So it's kind of pointless. I really didn't feel like tearing it apart right now because we got another adventure to go on. So I healed up my elytra at the mob grinder and I realized it was breaking pretty fast because it didn't actually have unbreaking on it. So I crafted another lectern for my villagers in hopes of being able to get an unbreaking book. But it took me the rest of the day just to be able to get them to sell me an unbreaking book. Day 117, I equipped my elytra with unbreaking and we set off. My goal was to find the lonely chicken that we left stranded on the island in the first 100 days. A lot of people felt bad for him and said I should go back for him. The only problem is I couldn't really remember the exact coordinates of where I left him. After traveling for almost an entire day, I found a new larger island that I had never seen before. I started to question if I was even going in the right day. I was starting to question if I was even going in the right direction. That is until on day 118, I managed to find an island that once had sugarcane on it. And this island actually wasn't that far away from where I found island chicken. So I knew I was getting close. But I continued to fly farther and farther until I finally found what looked like the island that I left him at. After landing, I found feathers floating in the water. Now either I dropped those 7 feathers when I left him, or a drowned with looting 3 killed my island chicken. Either way, island chicken was gone. It was a sad day. Day 119, I pretty much spent the entire day traveling back home. I was running out of fireworks, so I landed on an island to get some sugarcane and sleep. That's when I realized this island kind of shaped like a giant volcano. I thought it was impressive and worth showing. Day 120, we're back at home. I decided to start the day off by picking up all the eggs in the chicken forest and making a tomb for the island chicken. But that's when chicken 103 was murdered by a tree. 103 was one of my favorites. Yes, I definitely kept track of all my chickens. Don't question that. Of course, I gave the tree what it deserved as well. But now I had to make 2 tombstones. It was truly a sad day. For the rest of day 120, I pretty much just spent doing miscellaneous things around the base. And I started fixing the sugarcane farm as well. Day 121, I decided it was time to slay an Elder Guardian. The idea of drowning to death haunts me every single day in this world. So I grabbed my respiration helmet and decided to see how long I could survive underwater without any potions. Turns out a while, but I didn't want to trust my helmet and just some doors. So I decided to start hunting down the ever so elusive pufferfish. After a couple close calls, I returned back to the lab where I started cooking up some underwater breathing potions. And I figured since I'm already here, I might as well be a bit extra, you know, and make some potions of strength as well. Wait, did I just seriously make a mundane potion? Yeah. After making the right potion this time, I got a good night's sleep, so I could clap that elderfish in the morning. Day 122, I started off by farming because I realized that if I don't come back from this adventure, my villagers are gonna starve. So after gathering up all the potatoes, I fed them what could be their last meal. Afterwards, I hopped in the Brown Pearl and I sailed off to the nearest ocean monument. I wanted to try to sneak up on it and get some gold before I got mining fatigue. Now the trick to this is you just sneak around through the back. I drank my underwater breathing potion. Are you serious? I seriously got mining fatigue already? Well, that plan failed. So now I'm just gonna try swimming through the front door. But after going through the front door, I realized it was apparently blocked off. There was literally no way for me to go through this thing. So my only choice is to sit and wait for the mining fatigue to go away. Really? It reset before it ran out? After giving up on this monument, I decided to sail over to another one nearby. This time I was going to try the trick where you lower your render distance all the way down and the Elder Guardian doesn't really load in yet. But while sitting and waiting for the mining fatigue to go away, it started to get dark out, so I figured I'd sail home and sleep. Day 123, today's the day I clapped that fish. I sailed back over to the ocean monument with limited vision. Okay, I needed to turn it back up just a little bit just to be able to find the thing. I started getting a little lost. After locating the ocean monument, I swam in through the back. I immediately got lost inside and got miner's fatigue, but that's okay because luckily I found my target. Oh, well, that was easier than I thought. I figured while I still had my potion effects, I decided I might as well swim over and clap another Elder Guardian and get as many sponges as I can. After beating his fish sticks, oh, that sounds wrong. After clapping that Elder Guardian, I wanted to wait and see if I still get mining fatigue, since there isn't any Elder Guardians left. But after waiting a while, mining fatigue reapplied. And with my underwater breathing potion running out, I figured it would probably be best if I just try to get out and sail home. Day 124, I realized my axe and shovel still aren't netherite, so I figured I can go TNT mining scanning in the nether for some ancient debris. Only problem is I keep running out of sand somehow. So I swam to the edge of the reef and I shoveled sand for the entire day. Yes, entire day. I'm so tired of having to go get sand. Day 125, I accidentally left Minecraft open while eating some dino nuggies. I even tweeted about it. Day 126 to 129, I crafted all the TNT I had, grabbed my gold boots, and hopped into the nether. After using all my TNT, it revealed no ancient debris. I spent the next 2 days just mindlessly swinging my pickaxe to try to find some. I don't know how I did this in the first 100 days. I was going crazy in here, but after getting all the ancient debris I needed, I left immediately. Day 130, we're back in the overworld, and I finally got my netherite axe and shovel. In the moment, I was pretty excited, but honestly, looking back on it, I'm mildly disappointed in myself. After all this adventuring, I decided it was time to do some epic builds at home. And with the overflow of iron golems at the Shake Shack, I decided to make an iron golem farmer. I pretty much spent the rest of the day building the circle platform. You should be proud of me. I didn't mess it up this time. Day 131, I began constructing the farmer. It's honestly a pretty easy, straightforward build. That is until you got to start moving villagers. I figured laying down some rails and building a staircase all the way up to the farm, that it should be pretty easy, right? Wrong. I needed 5 villagers up there. I spent the rest of day 131 trying to get 2 villagers up there. One of them just kept running away and avoiding the minecart entirely. He knew he was going to get locked up there in that bubble for the rest of his life. The other villager was a pretty willing participant. Day 132, I realized you only need 2 to tango. With these 2, I could have them spawn the other 3 villagers I'm going to need. So I started the day off by giving them all the potatoes I had. While they're having a good time up in their perch, I started farming more because, well, I needed more potatoes. While waiting for them to populate, I continued to build. I mean, it only took a few more blocks and walls and a little bit of lava, and it was just a waiting game for the last couple villagers to spawn. Day 133, I decided to add a small AFK room to the bottom of the iron farm. I don't know why I did this, considering I'd try not to AFK as much as I can in these 100 days, but I feel like it makes the farmer look a lot cooler. Honestly, the more I'm doing these Blackstone builds, the more I'm starting to like them. Also, the first iron golem spawned, but not really in the right spot. I realized I needed to place some bottom slabs on the top of the AFK box, so that the only place that iron golems could spawn is up top in the cage. Now it's working perfectly. Day 134 to 138, we were definitely on track to hitting our goals for this 100 days, but the next thing on the list is to slay the wither boss. For that, we're going to need to go to another fortress, try to farm as many withers as we can. Luckily, I got a looting 2 swords, so it shouldn't take that long, right? Oh boy, was I wrong. I slayed wither after wither after wither. I ran around this fortress for 4 straight days slaying wither skellies. That is until on day 139, I started running a little bit low on food. I knew I was going to have to return to the overworld soon, but before leaving, I figured I'd try to better my chances with the wither skelly spawns. So I began constructing a giant platform made out of nether bricks. I've used this strategy in the past, so I knew it would work. And finally, on my way out of the nether, I got my first wither skull. I can't believe after all this time, I finally got one. This definitely made me realize that looting 2 is just not gonna cut it. After returning home, I placed my wither skull on the shelf and made tons of golden carrots to make sure that I wasn't gonna be running out of food anytime soon. Day 140, I decided to try to get looting 3 on my sword by having a villager sell me a looting book. So I made another lectern and began the process of giving a job, taking it away, all the way up until they finally give me what I want. But like always when dealing with villagers, it takes so long. I was doing this for an entire day before he started selling me looting 2. I quickly grabbed my bling bling and equipped it onto my sword, making it looting 3. Even though I had looting 2 and the book is 2 and 2 plus 2 equals 4, but that's Minecraft. Day 141 to 143, we're back in the nether. And I'm back to skelly hunting. But luckily, my giant platform strategy was working. Wither skellies were spawning much quicker. It wasn't long before I got my second skull, but then we hit a dry spell. No matter how many wither skellies I clapped, I just could not get that third skull. That is until on day 144 when I noticed another fortress in the distance. I figured it could be pretty refreshing running around a new fortress. Besides, I'd also be able to get some new chests. So I figured I'd zoom on over. After arriving, I ran around looting all the chests that I could find, and it wasn't too long until I started running into wither skellies. Oh, yo, I got my last one. New fortress, new me, baby. Now that we got our third skull, it's time to head home. Day 145, we started off by chopping some trees in the chicken forest because I wanted to get some more apples to turn into golden apples before we got to go fight the wither boss. I figured while waiting for the leaves to decay, I could just work on the potato farm. Afterwards, I crafted as many golden apples as I could. Honestly, it wasn't even worth it. I could only make 2. And at the end of the day, I noticed another chicken suffered from a growing tree. So it was time to make another tombstone. Get another sad day out of these 100 days. But day 146, I started getting a little bit nervous leading up to this Wither boss fight. I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to die. So I decided to start making some potions of regeneration. But for that, I was going to need some gas tiers. So back to the Nether we go. I basically had to fly around playing Ghostbusters in the Nether for pretty much the rest of the day, and just to be able to even get one gas tier. But one was going to be enough. So it's time to head home. Day 148, Wither clapping day. I spent all morning brewing up all the potions I was going to need. Luckily, I still got some potions of strength left over from the Guardian fight. After brewing potions, it was time. I went down to the mine shaft because I had already had a long tunnel from all the mining I've been doing. All I had to do was clear out a bit of room to construct the Wither. I stepped away and drank my potion of strength. After its initial explosion, I started unloading arrows into it. After it developed its shield, I popped my potion of regeneration and moved in and started hitting it with my sword. The withering effect was doing some serious Wait, it's over? Already? Maybe I was a little bit too over prepared for this. I even got so caught up that I didn't even realize I still had my elytra on. Whatever, because we got another star now. Day 149, I started off by crafting a new beacon. But I didn't want to just place this beacon onto a regular iron or gold block. Like I said, one of my goals is to make a beacon entirely out of emeralds. Because we about that green, baby. But for that much green, I was going to need to start doing some serious trades with villagers. But these villager trades take some time. Like seriously, a lot of time. I spent the next 14 days trading with villagers. I traded everything: sticks, gold, rotten flesh, anything that could get me emeralds. This was a really long and tedious process. So I'll just give you a summary so we can just jump through it. Day 152, I pretty much turned the last of my wood supply into sticks. So I needed to figure out another good source of emeralds, which then I realized that I could actually sell gold. And so on day 153, I spent the entire day in the Nether mining as much gold as I could with my fortune pickaxe. It definitely cashed out and got a lot. Day 153, I realized that one of my villagers buys books for 1 emerald. I mean, I got a lot of bookshelves from the stronghold, so I began chopping down all that knowledge and turned it into hard cash. Day 156, I fed everyone potatoes because I wanted more villagers for more stonks. Day 157, I remembered that cartographers actually buys glass panes, which that could make a lot of money. So I built an auto smelter in the storage house and started smelting down all the sand I got into glass. Day 159, I finally started running out of books, so I flew over to the stronghold to get more knowledge. Luckily, there were still a few stacks of books in there. Day 160, I went to the Nether and grabbed tons of wood so I could turn it into sticks so that I can continue to make huge profits. That's when I realized I could actually grab some gold out of the bastion. Luckily, I got a pretty easy bastion. I knew where all the hidden gold was in this thing. So I grabbed a few blocks without even having to fight any piggy boys. Day 161, I then sold everything I got in the Nether on 160. I still think stick trades are the best. You just make so much money off of it. Day 163, I finally got all the blocks that we're going to need for the beacon. Well, give or take a few blocks. I might need to do some more trades, but at least I already knew where I was going to build this thing because I had plenty of time to figure it out. I wanted to build a raised platform over near the docks and have a giant emerald beacon just sitting in front of the base. After I constructed the platform, I laid down all the emerald blocks. It was literally a pyramid flex machine. Day 164, I don't really have anything in my notes on this day. I actually think I took a nap. Hey man, those villager trades are exhausting. Day 165, I started off by adjusting the platform with the beacon because the more I looked at it, the more I'm not really vibing with all that cobblestone. So I started smelting down some rocks so that I can make prettier rocks. Afterwards, I decided to work on the farm. Honestly, it was just kind of a relaxing day and I didn't get much done other than just some household chores. Day 166, I realized that I've been sleeping on my trident. I mean, not literally, but all right, that was a bit of a dad joke. So today's the day I'm gonna enchant it. After taking it to the enchantment table, I managed to get channeling on it. I then used a mending book. Then I remembered that one of my villagers actually sells Riptide too. So I grabbed my bling bling and I bought some of that knowledge. But that's when I found out that you couldn't have channeling and Riptide at the same time. Honestly, in this ocean world, I'd think I'd rather have Riptide. So I ended up actually wasting a mending book and a lot of levels. Yeah, I know. I'm not proud of myself. Afterwards, I threw that thing back on the enchantment table and chose Impaling 4. But it actually also gave me Riptide 3, which means I wasted emeralds on... Never mind. I then added another mending book, healed it up at the mob grinder, and I pretty much spent the entire day just yeeting that thing in the ocean. But that's when I found out that I could actually throw it and still use my elytra in the air. This actually meant that I wasn't going to be needing fireworks while getting around in the overworld. However, on day 166, I was still going to need fireworks because we're heading back into the nether. Since I wanted to defeat all the bosses in these 100 days, I'm going to have to get some more gas tiers so I can be able to make end crystals, and then I can be able to revive the dragon. However, I had this not so bright idea of trying to slay the ghast with my looting 3 sword in hopes of getting more tiers to drop. Now, this was not only super risky, but also not really effective, considering that most of the ghast are just floating above giant lava lakes anyways. So pretty much all the items would just fall right in the lava. But luckily, with some grinding and some time, we managed to get 6 ghast tiers by the end of the day. Day 168, we're back at home and we're crafting those end crystals. I figured that since I still had a potion of strength left over, I might as well use it just to nuke the dragon. So I grabbed my Triton and my elytra and I flew through the air and water, whatever. After arriving at the end, I ran over to the dragon's perch, set down those end crystals, and began summoning the beast. I'm not going to bore you too much with the details. I won't bore you too much with the details. I'll just have Jake, my editor, give you a sick montage of me busting this dragon's cheeks. I meant cheeks, damn it. Day 169. Nice. I decided that since I'm getting overran with all these iron golems because of the villagers, I might as well start getting rid of them. The Shake Shack's just getting a little bit too crowded and I need some more room for my villagers. So I literally spent the entirety of day 169 just chopping away at all these iron golems. Day 170, I was getting a little bit curious whether or not I could buy a woodland mansion off of a cartographer. After leveling him all the way up to master, he wouldn't sell me one. Now this is either because there isn't one in this entire world or because he's being a lame boy and just won't give me what I want. I decided to add a little shack in the back of the Shake Shack. Sounds weird. So that I can move some villagers in a minecart to transform them into a zombie and then cure them to get better trades. I know there's better ways of doing this, but come on now, we committed to having a better looking house than a functional house. While waiting for zombies to spawn in the mini shack, I got attacked by an enchanted spider. Honestly, kind of scared the crap out of me, but at the same time, thought it looked pretty amazing. No, hey, look, we actually got 2 zombies in the shack. Well, I only need 1, so goodbye. Day 171. I bought a name tag from my book boy so that I could give it to the new zombie. I named him Project, no. Smelly, no. The Clapper. And then I got him a sword so that he could do some more damage and transform the villagers even faster. Unfortunately, when I tried to give him the sword, though, it got sucked through the ground because of the boat. After retrieving the sword, I gave it back to him carefully this time to make sure his butterfingers can actually get a hold of that thing. Now all I had to do was lay down some rails and push a villager in. My cartographer kept avoiding the minecart because he knew it would just mean the end for him, but I had a Fletcher that gladly hopped in to be my first experiment. But after he transformed, he somehow got knocked out of the cart and put in the boat with the Clapper. I mean, I guess I could just leave him there so it won't happen again. A worthy sacrifice. Day 172, I sent another Fletcher in to get zombified because I was hoping that it would reset his trades. But I'm dumb and that's not how it works. After he became a smelly boy, all the villagers ran to the opposite side of the house. And then they started crowding around the door, making it hard for me to get out. Don't worry, guys. I'm gonna clean him. And like I said, I'm pretty dumb and I didn't know that it wouldn't reset their trades. So I also sent in my cartographer to get zombified. Later on, I walked back in to check on the villagers and my zombie Fletcher had vanished. Somehow he actually managed to fall through the floor. So I grabbed the brown pearl and swooped him back up. But he wouldn't cooperate with me when I was trying to get him to go home. For some reason, he just kept going back to my blast furnace and using it like a fletching table. God, I honestly hate villagers sometimes. After finally getting my Fletcher home, it turned out that the cartographer also fell through the floor. But like I said, it didn't reset his trades and I wasted a lot of time. Day 173, I did what I should have done from the start, which is just make more villagers so so then I can have more jobs. So I was just making it rain on potatoes for everybody. While waiting for the villager babies to grow up, I started working on the base a bit. Like, one of the things is I added some more armor stands in the bedroom so I could start showing off all the types of armors I got. And of course, I enchanted some and wasted a couple of levels just so they could look cooler. Day 174, we're being taken over by the iron golems again. But also, one of the kids got a little too close to the clapper. But one of the other ones grew up and became a cartographer. So I began leveling him up and selling him paper and glass in hopes that I'd be able to get that woodland mansion map. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. I'm pretty sure it's just because this world unfortunately doesn't have one, even though I've seen those things spawn on giant towers of cobblestone before. Day 175, I was doing a bit of research on pillagers because I realized that we haven't had any spawn in this world yet. It turned out that they could spawn pretty much in any biome, but as long as they're a certain distance away from the player. So I grabbed a bunch of cobblestone and created this platform not too far away from the base so I could better my odds of getting them to spawn. Day 176. Oh my god, I've been waiting to get to this point. I thought it's been a while since we've done some traveling, so I decided now that we got the elytra, we could get some pretty good distance going. I hopped in the nether and started flying until I found a pretty big fortress where I was burned by a blaze and reminded that I wasn't welcome. So I decided to make a portal and leave. And we even managed to get that Hubble Space Bubble achievement because we actually ended up going about 11,000 blocks away from home. So I set off. And nope, never mind. I forgot to put on my elytra. Now we're off. So a little backstory. Originally on this adventure, I wanted to try to find an island big enough that maybe it can have some dirt and grass blocks. It just kind of turned into me getting lost at sea and trying my best to survive for the next 14 days. I managed to find a lot of tiny islands while out on this adventure, but nothing big enough that'll have a grass block. All the islands were just tiny baby islands. At the end of day 179, but at the end of day 179, I found the biggest island yet. It was shaped kind of like a giant square. This was honestly one of the most exciting things that happened while I was out on this adventure. I was also running a little bit low on food. I was down to my last 10 potatoes. Worst comes to worst, I know I could just loot a ship or go fishing, but being lost at sea was definitely taking its toll on me. I'd catch myself dozing off while recording this at 1 a.m. Don't sleep and fly on hardcore mode, kids. And on day 180, I managed to find another pretty large island. After finding this island, I was coming to terms with the fact that if there's an island this big that doesn't have a grass block, I don't think any island will. I left, but then I realized it was getting dark. But by the time I turned back around to go sleep on the island, a ton of mobs spawned. But hey, I figured this could be pretty fun, take a break from flying and start hacking away at all the mobs. But their numbers kept growing and I realized that I'm just taking up too much damage and losing a lot of food. So I chose to find a different island to sleep at. Day 185, I was running pretty low on fireworks, so I figured I should start using my Triton to get around. Honestly, this was way more fun and I don't know why I wasn't doing it from the start. But I managed to find another decent sized island and this time there was a cave. I figured it was worth double checking on the inside to try to find a grass block. Honestly, I was just getting a bit desperate and spoiler alert, there wasn't any grass block. And on day 188, the most exciting day of this entire trip, I managed to find another exposed stronghold. I figured that since I'm completely out of food and losing my mind flying around, I might as well just take a break from traveling, go loot this thing. After running out of books, turning all into emeralds, I figured, hey, might as well just, clear out this library. Day 190, I actually found a tiny island, a very familiar tiny island, one that I'm pretty sure I found in the first 100 days. So I left into the direction that I think my home would be, and to my surprise, it was. We finally found home. Oh my god, I was so excited I immediately started cooking potatoes. Day 191, I felt pretty eager to build something after that long adventure, but I didn't want to just build anything. I wanted to build a monument to commemorate these last 100 days. So the first thing I was going to need was a wither skull, which I literally got from my second wither. It just kills me how random these things are. I'm rambling. Day 192, I'll be honest, I got a late start to the day. But the next stop was going to be the end. So I made my way into the stronghold, hopped into the portal, and I was going to need to grab an ender dragon head from the end ship that I got my elytra. I honestly don't know why I didn't grab this the last time I came. Either way, after arriving at the end ship, I realized that there wasn't a dragon head. I was a bit confused, but I spent the rest of the day passing by end city after end city trying to find another ship. That is until on day 193. We got ourselves a ship. I boarded that bad boy and grabbed all the diamond gear out of the chest as well as the elytra. Oh, and of course the dragon's head. because that's what we're here for. Luckily, there was also a portal nearby, so I was able to make it home pretty easily. You might be wondering why the screen's black for day 194 and 195. That's because I literally mined. That's because I literally shuffled so much sand and cooking it all up to make glass for this monument. I mean, do you really want to see me do that again? Day 196 to 199, and I spent constructing this beautiful monument in front of the base. I wanted something to look at that I could remember these last 100 days and everything that we've achieved. And yes, I used a sponge for the Elder Guardian instead of a fish because then I would have needed an item frame and that would have been ugly. And on day 200, B-roll day, recap all the things that we've built in these last 100 days. Day 201. We're getting a little bit of a late start to the day, but we're starting off these 100 days right by exiling our cartographer that's been freeloading in the Brown Pearl. Afterwards, I figured I'd continue to do all the normal household essentials like clearing up the mob grinder, looting the iron farm. Wow, that's actually a lot of iron. And clearing out the sugarcane farm. I figured I'd turn all these iron ingots into a bunch of iron blocks. Oh, and a lot of people are asking about Chickpea. Is he even still alive? Well, yeah, of course he is. He's right over. He's right. Where the heck is he? Oh, there he is. Yeah, see, he's still alive and well. Day 202, I started off by feeding all my villagers some delicious potatoes. But that's only because I was trying to get on their good side, because some of them are gonna get zombified soon. Some of you guys were actually commenting down below that I could get a Fletcher to buy 1 stick for 1 emerald. Now that is some stonks I'm interested in. After sending my first villager in to get clapped, the Iron Golems made sure that he had 0 chance of survival. Yeah, this Iron Golem problem's getting real old. So I spent the rest of day 202 just chopping them all down. Day 203. Since we're down a couple villagers, I decided to start off the day by giving everyone even more potatoes. Then I realized my shovel wasn't even enchanted for some reason. I've been shoveling tons of sand without efficiency. I know, I'm pretty disappointed too. So I slapped that thing on the enchantment table and got some OP enchants. Afterwards, I decided to fly over to the spider spawner farm since I'm blowing through all my levels, even though I'm trying to get to level 100 in these next 100 days. After arriving at the spider spawner farm, I decided to AFK for the rest of the day and let a bunch of spiders just build up. And trust me, it was worth it, because on day 204 there was just a giant pile of spiders. It's always satisfying chopping through these things, but I honestly didn't even get that many levels, and it doesn't seem like the spider spawner farm's cutting it anymore. After flying home, I decided I should make an Enderman farm. Now, I've only done this thing once before because it's honestly really terrifying, but if I was going to make an Enderman farm, I was going to need a bunch of tree leaves to turn it tree leaves to use as building blocks. So I grabbed a bunch of bone meal and started bone mealing a bunch of trees. That is until Chicken 102 got suffocated. Now I have to make another tombstone. The chicken forest is quickly turning into a chicken graveyard because while I was setting up the tombstone for Chicken 102, I accidentally smushed Chicken 98 into a tree. So now I gotta set up another one. Honestly, I don't know how much more of this I could take. Day 205, I went back to gathering all the leaves I would need for the Enderman farm. It's always satisfying gathering leaves until your shears keep breaking. I went through 3 pairs of shears before I remembered that my villager sells an Unbreaking 3 book. So I bought some of that big brain knowledge and combined it with my shears to make really OP shears that won't die. Anytime soon, that is. Afterwards, I pretty much just spent the remainder of the day just giving my trees some haircuts. Day 206, my chicken forest was looking like a barren wasteland. So I decided to start off the day just chopping down all the naked trees. Now that that's out of the way, time to continue gathering all the things I would need for this Enderman farm. Things like glass from the storage room, cobblestone from the mines, make some chests and some carpets. Now that we're all stocked up and loaded, it's time to go on an adventure. Now this farm did take me about 4 days to make. That's primarily because I'm a huge chicken and this is really terrifying and I didn't want to fall in the void. I mean, come on, bobbing up and down in the water over the void's pretty terrifying. Then afterwards, I got to bridge out like 200 blocks to make a platform for all the Endermen to spawn. My pinky was cramping. I was crouching the entire time. But that wasn't even the worst part. After constructing the entire thing, I had to spawn an Endermite by throwing a bunch of pearls on the ground. After throwing a bunch of pearls on the ground, I put a name tag on it so it wouldn't despawn. Yes, I named it Small Boy. But then Small Boy tried to run away from me, then refused to get in the minecart. I had no other choice but to slay Small Boy, fly all the way back home, buy another name tag. This time I wouldn't mess it up, except for the fact that I ran out of pearls, so I had to slay a bunch of Endermen just to get some more pearls. But then I finally got an Endermite to spawn. Small Boy 2.0. Then finally this Enderman farm became fully functional. While waiting for all the Endermen to spawn, I figured I'd make a long tunnel so that I could make it safely all the way over to the farmer. This farmer definitely gives me a lot of good XP, but I'm going to be needing a sweeping edge sword. So on day 211, I started off the day by crafting a new diamond sword, which I'd be enchanting, trying to get sweeping edge. It only took a couple tries and we managed to get it. So I flew back over to the Enderman farm. Hold on, slow down. Slow down. Oh my god. Okay, maybe I shouldn't be flying all the way over to this thing. I pretty much AFK'd for most of the day, letting tons of Endermen pile up into the farm, until eventually it was time to start chopping them down. Man, Sweeping Edge is OP. But the farm honestly didn't give me that much XP. I don't think I built it correctly. I pretty much just got all the levels back from enchanting my sword. Yeah, I'll worry about it later. Day 212. I decided I wanted to build an auto potato farm because I'm getting pretty tired of having to dig up and replant every single one of these things. But for that, I'm going to need some dirt and lots of it. So I went down to the mines and got some. Afterwards, I pretty much just spent the rest of the day preparing the farm, digging it up, and extending it outward. Day 213 to 217. Okay, this farm definitely took me way longer than I wanted it to. For some reason, I kept getting doo-doo brain, and I was convinced that I was going to need some pistons to get water flowing to stop and flowing and stop. I kept building it up and breaking it down over and over until I finally realized on day 216 that I can actually use dispensers with water buckets in them. But I needed to head over to the spider spawner farm, get all that string that I've been leaving there to make bows so that I can make dispensers. But it was worth it because after filling up all my buckets and loading them into the dispensers and hooked it all up with some redstone and a lever. Oh, wow, that felt amazing. Ugh, that felt weird. It turned out amazing. All that was left is to load up the farm with a bunch of potatoes and let them grow. Day 218, I wanted to do some villager transforming. Transforming. Honestly, I need to come up with a better solution to getting rid of all these iron golems because this is just taking way too long. After chopping them all down, I started sending some villagers into the transformation room. I wanted to try my hand again at getting that OP Fletcher trade. That's kind of all I really have in my notes for this day, so it doesn't sound like a very productive day. Day 219, oh look, my villagers transformed, but they also fell through the floor again. So I grabbed the brown pearl and swooped him up. After luring him all the way back to the Shake Shack, he took the fletching job, but didn't have the right stick trade. I figured maybe he needed to go another round in the transformation room. Afterwards, I figured I'd go pick up my other villager that fell through the floor. After getting him back, I figured I'd send him into the transformation room as well. Why not? This time, before transforming them back into villagers, I figured I'd put some slabs underneath the Shake Shack so that they would stop falling through the floor. Day 220, we're starting it off in the nether. I was running a bit low on gold because of all these villager transformations, so I figured I'd put that Fortune 3 to use and get some nuggies. When I got back, I crafted up all my gapples and went in and wait, did the iron golems seriously kill all my zombie villagers? These guys are getting so annoying. Basically, for the rest of the day, I just raged and tried shortening the roof in the Shake Shack so that hopefully they'll stop spawning. But then when I came to my senses, I realized I'd just be ruining the beauty of the Shake Shack, so I tore down all the slabs. Day 221. Z-Day. My least favorite day ever. I realized it would be easier for me to just widen the transformation room. Maybe I could try to move the clapper over a little bit, so that when I transform my villagers, they could just stay in the room until I cure them. I figured I would test this out by sending in another villager and just blocking them in. But later on, I returned to go check on my villager, and they had all turned into zombies. I heard the sounds of villagers screaming, so I instinctively started swinging on all the zombie villagers. Then I realized, wait, no, I actually still need them. When I looked through the window, I realized it was too late. Everyone had become a zombie. That is, except for one, but he did his best to get away, but he just couldn't. There was too many of them. I can't believe this happened. Day 222. I needed a break from Minecraft, but I also forgot that I left it open, so there's not much to say about this day. Day 223 started off just like any other day. I cleaned out the sugarcane farm. Surprisingly, there's a lot of bamboo in there. I made my way over to the mob grinder. That's when I noticed my farm